A Missouri mother gives her daughter a pill in what she claims she hoped would cure her daughter's toothache. But that pill fatally harmed her daughter, and now she's charged with murder. What was initially an ordinary evening in a Missouri home turned into tragedy when a 14-year-old girl was found dead, her life taken by a harmful drug. The case first unfolded on October 3rd, when the teen daughter of 35-year-old Jacqueline Powers, whose name has not been publicly released, said she had a toothache. So her mom did what any caring mom would do. She tried to get her daughter's pain to go away. But her plan would end up having fatal consequences. At first, she reportedly gave her daughter a Tylenol, but her pain never went away. So Powers allegedly gave her daughter the first pill she found in a drawer at home. But that pill turned out to be laced with fentanyl. And what police say happened next is chilling. After Powers' 14-year-old daughter took the pill, she then fell asleep, but didn't wake up. Powers later discovered her daughter dead in her bed 10 hours later. Court documents obtained by Law and Crime revealed more insight into the teen's death. Just a shocking story overall, but important to share. And part of the reason we're able to keep bringing you these stories is because of our great sponsors. And I want to quickly talk about one of our amazing sponsors, and that's Odoo. I'm sure a lot of you watching this might be business owners or thinking about starting a side hustle. Well, Odoo can help. Odoo is a free all-in-one business management software with tools to help you run your business. I mean, look, I'm a cat mom and I want my cat to get some brand deals. Using Odoo's website builder, I built a site for my cat Buttons in just minutes, thanks to easy tools like AI copywriting and drag and drop features. 5 minutes later, boom, check it out. I now have buttonsthecat.odoo.com. So I want to thank Odoo for sponsoring our videos. And for our amazing viewers, you can start building your site now and get a free domain for the first year with our link, odoo.com/lcnews3. Again, that's odoo.com/lcnews3 to try Odoo now for free. Powers told police she gave her daughter oxycodone that she was prescribed from a previous surgery. But as investigators began piecing together more clues, they made a shocking discovery. It turns out Powers allegedly had been trading oxycodone with her mother in exchange for pills her mom found on the street. Powers reportedly explained to police she was doing it to protect her mom from dangerous pills. Powers claimed she kept those pills in a drawer at home and admitted the pill she gave her daughter came from that stash. The pill she ended up giving her daughter was laced with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid far more powerful than heroin. Autopsy results also confirmed Powers' daughter did not have any oxycodone in her system, and officials confirmed she died from a fentanyl overdose. After her arrest, Overland Police Captain Jim Morgan called the case tragic. He told local reporters, "This shouldn't happen. She's 14. She had a lot of years to look forward to." Court documents also revealed Powers had other drugs inside her home, along with her other minor children. Powers was arrested last week, nearly a month after her daughter's death, and now she faces charges including first-degree endangering the welfare of a child resulting in death. According to a criminal complaint obtained by Law and Crime, prosecutors say Powers knowingly acted in a manner that created a substantial risk to the life of the victim by giving her a pill that contained fentanyl, causing her death. A devastating case and a lot to unpack, so let's bring on forensic analysis Bethany Pridgeon. Bethany, thank you so much for joining me today. You know, a young girl dies because her mom gave her a pill laced with fentanyl to treat a toothache. What's your reaction to this story?
I mean, as a scientist and a parent, it's shocking that you would just give anyone just just any pill, or especially your child, especially knowing, in this day and age, the widespread availability of fentanyl in the communities that we live in. And the fact that they are pressed commonly now, to look like prescription medications, legal medications. But then again, for a toothache, that seems like a really strong type of thing to do, is to go to a prescription medication to treat that first, instead of taking something lighter, or maybe mixing up ibuprofen and Tylenol, and then maybe calling a doctor.
Of course, and that jump kind of did happen where we saw Jacqueline Powers allegedly give her daughter, Tylenol at first, and then kind of making that jump to oxycodone, which we now know to be a pill laced with fentanyl. What do you make of just that jump from Tylenol to oxycodone?
I'm, I don't understand it. I Oxycodone is, meant for severe pain. People typically get these after surgeries. They're monitored now very strongly by doctors, even after surgical procedures. People struggle to even get the pain meds they might actually need. I don't understand the jump. And again, I just feel like nowadays, I'm an expert in this area. This is what I do, but it's such common knowledge among the people in the community that we've got these counterfeit pills, we've got medications, and then there's a far greater difference between oxycodone and Tylenol. I mean, there's a lot of options in between.
For sure.
Mhm.
And how common is it? We see a lot of these types of cases nowadays, it feels like, but how common is it that you're seeing in your field of expertise that drugs are actually laced with fentanyl?
I remember when fentanyl came on the scene. I was working in a drug lab at the time, and it wasn't common then. We didn't even know. We were shocked, like, what is this? I always saw heroin, and then all of a sudden, one of my heroin cases was fentanyl. So I would say 10, 12 years ago, not common. Now you hear about this a lot. We had to really look at. I'm no longer in the lab, but when I was there, even 5, 6 years ago, we had to make sure our procedures could identify fentanyl and different types of fentanyls because we were seeing them so constantly in pills that looked like Xanax bars, that looked like oxycodone. And so that had already become very common 5 years ago, at least at a minimum. And just now the stories that I read, the cases that I see, where you just see it more and more. It's just widespread available.
And talk to me a little bit about the differences in chemistry between, say, fentanyl and heroin, where we know now that the potency of fentanyl is way higher even than heroin is, and let alone to give that to a 14-year-old girl. I mean, I just yeah, but yeah, going back to that, can you talk to me a little bit about the differences in chemistry between the
Yeah.
two?
Uh, So I guess we used to always look, we kind of did the tier morphine, then heroin. We would talk about how powerful heroin is versus morphine, right? So now we know that fentanyl, so heroin is like 1.5 times stronger than morphine. Fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine. Even a severe pain, strong pain medication that's used in hospitals for severe pain, fentanyl is 100 times stronger than morphine. And then heroin, which we know has a high risk of addiction after even a single use, to be introduced to something 50 times more potent. Of course, in this situation, we were seeing the worst possible case scenario of exposure, but just the potential for addiction is so strong. It's really scary as a chemist to look at these chemical compounds that are not that always that different structurally, like on a very structural base level that we can't physically see, but just one atom can change the potency and how they make you react. So it's really scary because heroin acts similarly to fentanyl. Fentanyl is just 50 times stronger.
Incredible, and not in a good way either. Was there any potential for saving Powers's daughter, the defendant in this case, once she did take that pill and it ingested into her system? Was there any way she could have survived, or was there any way that there could have been that possibility her life could have been saved?
I mean, I think if someone had been aware that she was in physical danger from the pill, maybe not realizing that that's what it was. I mean, there is the potential to take naloxone, which is commonly known as Narcan. We see people frequently who overdose on heroin or have been exposed to fentanyl or overdose, and sometimes they have to do multiple injections, or they can do an inhaling thing as well, but to stop the drug from acting on the body and to stop cardiac arrest and bring the people back to consciousness. But I mean, you have to be aware that the person's in distress.
Yeah. And are there any signs, I guess, to look out for that, for people who may buy something off of the street, that they kind of may be more aware that this might not be what it's supposed to be?
I mean, unfortunately, especially when people are doing something like oxycodone, these pills, Xanax pills, oxycodone pills that are laced with fentanyl, they really look so much like the actual prescription pill. So really, the safest thing is don't take something unless you know that it's from the proper source. I mean, there's a couple of things you can do. I mean, if you're considering using something you're not prescribed, you can go to drugs.com. There's website pill ID, and kind of look at what are the actual press, the letters and the numbers that are on your pills. What colors are the prescription pills? But it still doesn't mean that it's safe because people can buy a pill press and do that themselves. But I mean, that would be a way to maybe check and verify, okay, well, this is not the right color, green or blue or pink. But really, the only safe way is to not take something and you don't know what it is and it's not meant for you. Because again, even prescription pills are dangerous if you're not supposed to have them. And they have the effect of, again, prescription oxycodone. That's where a lot of people's addictions begin, right? And it's all from taking it because you need it at the time. It doesn't mean that they're safe because a doctor prescribed them. So they need to be taken as needed, they need to be taken as prescribed. I talk to middle school children and I always tell them, I don't care if your friend tells you it's candy or it's safe, you don't know what's in it. And it's because we just see these tragic, consequences of taking that risk.
Yeah, I remember even getting my wisdom teeth taken out and I was prescribed it. And then, obviously my mom was watching and overseeing, how much I was taking, making sure I was taking the right amount. And then that's why I find this case just to be so horrific because here you have a mom who, instead of just either taking her daughter to the dentist, taking her daughter to urgent care, you have her go into her drawer and just take out some random pill that she had had in there. She claims that she got the pills to protect her mom from dangerous pills. Then she ends up giving her daughter what ended up being a dangerous and fatal pill. What do you just kind of make of that recklessness where she didn't take her daughter to an urgent care or a dentist, instead just grabbed a pill out of a drawer that she had had, knowing that, she took this from her mom who also might have engaged in, nefarious activities with these drugs. What are your thoughts on
I
that?
mean, I think if that's how it happened, that's probably the most shocking to me because you're trying to protect your mother. But why would you give it to your daughter? And it also shows that you have an awareness of the dangers that exist with these potentially counterfeit pills or real ones. So that I think that's the most shocking part to me is why you would take that risk. I mean, there's numbing solutions you can buy over the counter to numb a toothache until you can get to the doctor. I mean, there's just so many other options, and to know that this could be dangerous and do it anyway, I just don't know how you explain it.
Yeah, it's just horrific. Words can't even describe, just how horrible this case is overall. Bethany, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Before we sign you off though, do you have a message for parents or family who might not realize how common it is for a dangerous drug like fentanyl to be so easily accessible?
I mean, my number one message is the one that I give to my kids and people that I know is, you've got to be careful. You've got to talk about these things. I started talking to my kids about this when they were in elementary school. You got to be real. It's out there. It's way too easily available, and you've got to have those real conversations. My kids know how to identify all types of alcohol, all types of pills. We talk about it. It doesn't mean they won't do something they shouldn't, but as parents and as a community, we've got to be real. This is a serious problem. We can't brush it under the rug. We don't want to keep losing, especially our children, to something that could be 100% preventable.
Yeah. Well, Bethany, I want to thank you again so much for your time, and I really appreciate your insight into this case. Thank you
Thank
again.
you. It was a pleasure.
Jacqueline Powers is being held at the St. Louis County Jail on a $150,000 cash bond and is scheduled to appear in court for a bond hearing this week, and a preliminary hearing is slated for December 11th. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Milner.